The Sega Neptune, the console that never got released. It took the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive and a 32X, smashed them together and made a brand new console. It never got a release until now. My name's Mike and this is the Retro Gamer Boy Show. The GF1 Neptune. This is a brand new clone console of Sega's unreleased Sega Neptune, and it's been developed by 𝗴𝗺𝗀𝗃𝗃, a company based in Brazil. Brazil, the country that still loves the Sega Mega Drive, probably the biggest fanboy country of Sega. Maybe the UK's a close second, but these guys love their Sega Mega Drive. And it's amazing to think that nearly 30 years after this console was conceived, it's finally going to get a commercial release. Now, I didn't cover this story when it originally released. Tons of people already did. I didn't see any point in covering it. There was so many people talking about this console that just another voice to it made no difference. Everyone knew it was out there. But people have been asking for my opinion on it, and last week the team who are developing this console reached out and asked if I would tell more people about this console. So that's what I'm going to do today. We're going to talk more about this console and why I'm really excited for it. We're also going to see the console in action and working, and an early prototype of the shell as well. So why am I excited for this console? Well, there's a number of reasons. The first is this is a console that never got released. This is the Sega Neptune. This is a holy grail for some of us collectors. Like one or two of them actually exist as prototypes out in the real world. Now, there are other projects out there that look to emulate and rebuild the Sega Neptune, but a lot of those require the original hardware. And if you know anything about the Sega 32X, you'll know that this original hardware isn't very good. This is my original Sega 32X, where the plastic bits are. Everything inside has been changed maybe 10, 12 times. The capacitors, the circuitry, the chips, the whole thing's been ripped out multiple times and replaced with a donor 32X. I can kind of still say it's my original, but it isn't really. This hardware is flaky, and so those projects that use original hardware require a lot of effort, when ultimately the chances are that the thing is going to fail after a few years of play. And so a Sega Neptune that's based on modern hardware, based on FPGA, the closest we can get, the most precise version of emulation that's out there, is very exciting. It means I don't have to rely on that original rubbish hardware and the fact that it could break down at any point. So we finally have an FPGA clone of the Sega Neptune, a long lost Sega console, something that's going to look awesome in the games room. A 32X that will finally work. And the third point, well, this console is going to open itself up to indie developers as well. And you know that I love indie development, I love supporting indie developers, and I particularly love indie developers that make games for my favorite console, the Sega Mega Drive. So let's take a look at what this thing actually is going to be able to do. Now, they've got an HDMI connection with 1080p resolution and digital audio. That's kind of cool. I'm not too fussed about it. It's going to be good for someone like me that makes YouTube videos, that wants to capture footage and put that up onto a YouTube video. It makes it a lot easier. But I'm not too fussed about HDMI out. I prefer to play on a CRT screen. It's got high quality analog sound and video output. I'm hoping this is RGB out and that I can get into my CRT. Now, I know there's a HDMI to SCART that allows you to get into the TV, but if they've got RGB out that goes into my awesome CRTV, I'll be very, very happy. They've got an SD card slot, which facilitates updates and media storage. That's going to be interesting because I think you'll be able to have ROMs that you've got, whether they're indie developed ROMs or other kind of ROMs, on your system. For those of you that like to kind of emulate without having a huge physical catalog of games, you haven't got enough space, it's too expensive, you're not into that, then this could be a good solution. It has a connection port for the original Sega CD, or the Mega CD. Now I'm guessing this is going to look a lot better on the Mega CD 2 because the Neptune actually shares the same type of chassis as the Mega Drive 2. It will definitely work on a Mega CD Mark 1, but the Mega CD Mark 2 is where it's going to look aesthetically more pleasing. We've got a high-speed wireless internet connection for access to exclusive features and content. And again, this is what this SD storage card is probably for as well. So they're going to be able to do updates for it. I'm not sure what kind of updates they're going to be able to add to it. Maybe there's different features, different filters, and you're going to be able to download exclusive content as well. That's going to be quite interesting. The console is also going to have a digital store. Okay, so this is where that content comes into it, a digital store. So they'll have digital games that you'll be able to download. Now, the really cool thing about this is if you can have an indie game, if you're developing an indie game, you could probably put your demos up on this store, and that could get you more exposure and allow you to kind of promote your game further. That's very, very cool. And of course, it being a store, they're probably going to sell stuff as well. So maybe another option for those people creating brand new Mega Drive games and 32X games can now get them onto this digital store and sell them another way, as well as physical, which I prefer. You'll be able to get digital versions for those that want digital versions of the games as well. So that's very, very, very cool. And from what I can see, that's all the information they've released so far. So there's a lot in there. It's mixing a lot of the modern console features we find today, as well as that original Sega experience of physical cartridges going into your console. Now, I've seen a lot of people commenting on about this console, about why do we need it? Why do you need a 32X? There's already a 32X out there. Why do you need a Mega Drive? There's already a Mega Drive out there. There's clone consoles out there that do this with FPGA already. Why do you need another one? I think those people are missing the point. This is the Sega Neptune. This is a console that wasn't released. It was on the design board. They even have prototypes. It never got a commercial release. That's the exciting thing about this console. All the other things are very cool. The fact that they've got a store in there, there's digital downloads. It looks like it supports digital ROMs. They've got updates that they'll be able to do for it, HDMI out. Those are all cool things. But I think if you're a Sega fan, those are all secondary things. They're all secondary to the fact that the Neptune is coming out. And that's the exciting thing about this. The Sega Neptune is going to be available for you to buy with reliable hardware. It's not using a kind of butchered Mega Drive 2 with a 32X folded over and soldered in 1,000 different places. This is reliable hardware that will be able to play your original 32X game. So that's very, very, very cool. Now, since they made this press announcements, they've done a couple of things. They were at 𝗴𝗺𝗀𝗃𝗏𝗃. So they show off the shell here. So what we're looking at the moment here is the actual form factor for the console. So they're actually building these from scratch, which is awesome. They're not 3D printing them. I think they're mold printing them. So that's awesome. And now we're going to take a look at the video of them actually running the Neptune, the guts of the Neptune, running games. So we can see that it's actually working. So obviously this is early prototype phase here. It looks like it's got a normal plug power socket. It's not like a USB-C. At least it kind of looks like. I'm guessing that's what that red cable is. It looks awesome, right? That looks amazing. That's obviously through HDMI as well. I mean, you'd have to get your hands on it. You have to have a controller in your hands to feel how it plays. But it is FPGA. And we know that FPGA is probably the best way of emulating games with modern hardware. It's a lot better than just using software emulation. But that looks great. There's Sonic. It looks like it's running beautifully. Looks lovely on the screen as well. Now look how small the device actually is. Now the Neptune itself is probably going to be mostly air because these circuit boards are so small nowadays. And again, doesn't need a massive power pack in it. I wouldn't be surprised if this does end up being USB-C powered. But that looks awesome. Let's fast forward on, see what else we've got here. We've got a bit of road rash going on. Do you know what I would like to see? I would like to see them show off the 32X running, because that's the thing that I'm most interested in. At the moment, I don't play my 32X much. One, because it's broken again and I have to get it fixed and replaced. And the other is I'm just scared it's going to break. So I just don't use it as much as I would normally do. So I would have liked them to show off a 32X game, but it doesn't look like we're going to get a 32X demo here. And as we move on, we can see that they've got Rolling Thunder 2 as well. So it doesn't look like we're going to get a 32X running. Now, they have got another device at the back of the TV that's on. I'm not sure what that is. That looks very interesting. Is that an upscaler or a line doubler that's in the background there? Is it on, or is that the TV on? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure this is running off original hardware. I don't think these guys are faking anything. But yeah, interesting that they've got some kind of other device in the background there. It looks like an OSSC or something like that. But regardless, I think these guys are completely legit with what they're building. They are building a clone Neptune console for us. And of that, I've got no doubt. Now, just as I was about to put this video out, the team dropped the first shot of the Neptune motherboard. And here it is now. Now, I'm not super technically minded here, but we could have a quick look at the ports we've got on the back here. We've got the SD slot at the back here there. It looks like a USB-C maybe over here on the right. HDMI over here. That black piece there, that's probably power, I think, potentially. And maybe what we've got here is the RGB out. The team have confirmed that it supports RGB and composite as well, which is awesome. So this is a real thing. Here is the motherboard for the Neptune, the modern Neptune FPGA board from 𝗫𝗄𝗃𝗃. Awesome to see this. This is a real thing. This is happening. The Sega Neptune is finally coming out, and I cannot wait for this console. A console where I'll be able to play my full physical collection on. It's not just going to sit on the shelf collecting dust so that someone can sell it for thousands in 2 years' time. This is going to be playing this 32X collection and my Sega Mega Drive collection, and I cannot wait for it. I was intrigued by some of the other projects that are coming along, but they use the original hardware. And this is just too flaky to spend that much money on to create a Neptune. The FPGA project is the perfect solution. Now, I should say, the team said that this will work with all original peripherals, and they're going to have new peripherals out there. Does it work with third-party stuff? I don't know yet. Hopefully, I'll be able to get my hands on one of these consoles, and I'll let you know if all your third-party peripherals also work on the console, and if some of the newer games that have been released for the Mega Drive and for the 32X also work on the console. Now, you know, as soon as I get it, I'm going to have to spray paint this, put on those original logos, and create a custom Neptune box as well for the console. So it probably means I'm going to have to buy two One in its original form and one that I customized to look like the original Neptune. Now, in terms of pricing and when it's going to be released, the team haven't said anything yet. I suspect though, given the progress they're making, we're probably looking at a Q2 2025 release. And pricing, well, that's going to be the big question. Is this going to be a £600 plus console? If it is, it's going to probably price a lot of people out of it. Is it going to be sub 300? That would probably be the sweet spot for a console like this. As always, make sure you check out the other videos, share them around, hit the like buttons, do the commenty stuff, and I'll be back with another brand new Sega Mega Drive game in our next show. So until then, my friends, enjoy the game.